for me, I'm kind of like an old soul in a young guy's whatever. So I don't mind being an adult dealing with adult things, I guess. So I can understand now how important traditional beliefs are in our world right now. Yeah, man. I definitely don't think that there's a God or someone that created us for sure.
Hey guys, just taking a moment to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel. It's nice when you guys are subscribed to the channel. We keep on chatting out this content. It takes a second. I ask kindly, just hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to get alerts every time we drop an episode, every time we drop a short. We love having you guys on this journey. It's been a pleasure so far. So just go ahead right now, hit the subscribe button. Yeah, man. So let's switch.
You watch a debate?
Trump.
No, not the debate, the aftermath. I've been dying.
Of?
Like Biden trying to, he called Trump.
He called Putin. Zelensky Putin. I saw that.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky.
He called Nani Vice President Trump.
But let's.
That's crazy.
I don't know, and I don't know what kind of PR machine Biden has that despite, because still,
bro, Eric, how long? This is since 2020 when like you were staying over. There's so many things that we talked about. Vaccines number one. Actually, ivermectin was one of them. It started there. Oh, Joe Rogan is taking. I was like, okay, so he's taking ivermectin. So what? Why are guys so much against them? That was one thing that they were wrong about, right?
Do you have a vague memory, bro? Do you know it's your? And you said no farm, but bro, me, I was skeptical about the vaccine.
Yeah. Everyone was.
Not everyone.
Listen,
some guys were diving on needles.
Guys were being pushed, but there was a kind of, say you were on the fence. Yeah, you still kind of be pushed because of your responsibility to family. For example, you're living with older people, and you don't want anything to happen to them. That at the same time, the news is blaring that if you do not get this, there's this very famous clip of some MSNBC chick saying the virus stops with every shot.
Yeah,
you've seen it.
It's echoed over.
Yeah, and it's being echoed. So it's something that you don't understand at all. You feel pressured into doing it. Okay, they were wrong about the vaccine, right? They were wrong about the vaccine being a cure immediately. It went literally from 90% efficacy to like 10. Bro.
Less than 10, bro.
Bro.
Booster.
Imagine.
After booster.
After booster. These guys are, that time, Pfizer is making billions. Like I said, you have to be a fucking psychopath to push this on people knowing it's not doing anything.
Then you find out Pfizer sponsors newsrooms. Bro.
Several sponsored by Pfizer.
Imagine.
Okay, that's one. Talked about the ivermectin thing. Cuomo recently was saying how, we were wrong about it. That time he was talking shit. That's two. Trump and at the Russiagate being sponsored by Russia, that was also bullshit.
But did anyone believe Russiagate? Any of that?
Bro, that thing was blared on news for 3 fucking years.
But no.
Guys were believing. These guys on the left, guys were believing. What else? There was, the laptop story.
Bro, how they've been able, and that's what I'm saying.
These are 4 things these guys are already wrong on. We aren't even like halfway through.
But the media machine as now blaring as Biden's disintegration of brain, and naturally
for 4 years.
He's 166 years old. So naturally you're gonna act like look like that, yeah? But how
guys are,
the fact that the bloopers are still so relatively small. The media machine behind the Dems. Can you imagine if Trump was anything like Biden?
Even if Trump's son,
my shirt would probably have.
If Trump's son had videos of himself smoking crack, bro, that would be insane.
Weighing crack on a scale,
bro, on a scale. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Like the double standards are insane. And when you hear what these guys, how they still push it. For 4 years, guys have been saying, this guy has issues, this guy has issues, this guy has issues. So now, Oh, now you've all of a sudden realized that, oh, yeah, actually, he might have issues. Half the time he's falling off stage.
So what do you think happens? Who do you think runs? Do you think he still runs? Or do you think Kamala?
This is what I think. This
or
is my
Michelle?
let me tell you my big
They'll
chess. This is what I think is going to happen. There's
Okay.
two scenarios. Either they keep him on the ticket, right? They push him through. This is so both scenarios are if Trump doesn't win, which is looking like he'll definitely win if they don't, get rid of him. But these are the two scenarios if these guys win. So they will either swap out Kamala Harris. They swap her out to the more popular Democrat, which is either Michelle or Gavin Newsom.
Well, Gavin Newsom has lost a lot of credibility the past month or so.
Yeah, but he's a bandera. He goes wherever the wind goes. But anyway, he's one of the more, if not one of the most popular.
He has that presidential thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So they put him on as a vice president. A year after this guy wins, they now evoke the 25th and say, this guy is not okay. Now it's gone too much. The guy comes in as president.
I think
He'll
that's a very
completely
plausible theory.
100%. Not just him, but also Michelle.
I feel like
The whole time, I think, okay, that this guy, that Obama is on who's been running the country. I think, personally.
so. I that's a very plausible theory. I have a different theory, but the Michelle thing, I've thought about it for a while. I felt like they've been holding as a card that they're just gonna bring towards the end, and Americans, black woman,
Yeah.
So that can actually pose a serious threat to Trump if they actually put up front Michelle. As for Obama running the show, I don't think so. In as much, and it's
Guy.
gonna be such a different.
One of the only
me finish my
presidents who
thought.
moved back to Washington after.
Let me finish my thought.
Finished.
In as much as Biden is so unpresentable as a president, especially when it comes to the public eye, speaking in public, I don't think his faculties, I know it sounds crazy, are as bad as also people want to think. It's just, that's not the guy you want to talk to people publicly. That's not the guy you want to have a long form
The guy's
trying
being
to
led
pitch.
off stage.
He's upset. He's
being
upset.
led off stage. You're telling me that he's making decisions.
Yeah,
No, he's not.
I think I strongly believe
Maybe
so.
he has his day. Maybe he makes decisions between 9:30.
Because even if you watch that video for
morning.
when he calls Zelensky
Putin, yeah,
shortly after,
he
cracked
corrects
a joke.
himself.
So there's a lot of that also. There's a lot
But
of
a lot of the time he's also lost, man.
again. He's not the guy. He's not the guy to. He's not the guy to present Kibaki in his.
I'd actually feel a lot worse for him.
Remember Kibaki's rants?
I remember.
The government was still doing pretty well. It's just that there are some things there,
Yeah.
bro. That's not your thing, bro. Like
No, but I feel
I'm not trying to podcast with Kibaki.
I would feel a lot
these days.
worse for. I mean,
R.I.P.
for him. If I'd feel a lot worse for him if, if he didn't have a kind of career of just being a horrible person. I'd feel a lot worse.
or Biden.
Yeah.
Even from his
He's not
wife.
been a
His wife was his babysitter, you guys.
Bro.
And she was a youngin', man.
And do you know what happened before that? You know she was married before that, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What happened?
Bro, the guy
It's a front line.
you just do your research on that thing. It's a very interesting story.
I just
Talks
know
about the whole thing. Like, I'll send you the name.
Before I-
There's this channel I watch on YouTube called Forgotten History. It talks about a lot of that stuff. A lot of all that history.
But I also don't fault people. Again, I keep evolving. I don't fault people for their thoughts in the past or even policy.
No, it's not about thoughts in the past, it's actions. Nigga, there's no time you're telling me that's kind of stealing someone's, I don't know if I can say stealing someone's wife.
There was a time for
Bro,
it's the last yours to the front lines.
No. No, I feel like
Even the Bible guy, was it David who sent a whole piece of the front
I
lines?
swear the front lines, bro.
Yeah, that's your wife. We gonna see.
No, but that's not too far in the past.
Of course.
It's not fine now.
That's just on a
On a lighter note.
on a lighter note.
Yeah. But Yeah, I don't know. I don't
But
know. It's comical where
away from
politics is going. It's comical. Like today, just
cartoonish.
Just in the past week or two, including the riots. So we've had the Kenyan riots. We've had the French riots. Guys are rioting and they've won. Yani, how do you talk to someone like that? They riot when they lose, right? So you have the British whatever's as well. The British elections.
I've not been following UK so much, but what's that cyclical thing that's happening? Guys just being chucked, coming in, chucked, coming in, chucked. What's happening?
It's like Italy. It's turned into the new Italy. I don't know, man. Prime ministers are disposable.
They're not lasting.
Yeah, it's based on popularity somewhat, but also, guys, it's also based on efficacy. But at the same time, also, it was time for the elections anyway. So it was an interim. The guy was a kind of interim. Actually interim.
But it's
prime ministers.
It's so crazy. I think I've shared this somewhere else where the world has changed. My folks were in SA, and the driver told them, the driver 30-something, late 30s, that they wish the white man could take over, a black person. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
South Africa with that.
Yeah. I'm sorry to say, but now
stop thinking as you. Mm-hmm. Of course, for us, we can see why even before the fact, like infrastructure, there was no good handover of those systems that existed. Yeah. But think about a black South African saying that. It's not the same context as a foreigner who can, bro. You were in SA for.
But is he black South African or
proper black, bro? Black South African. That's how bad it's gotten. Imagine. These guys have ruined.
That's what happens when you let victims rule. You know, if you have a victim mentality, that's exactly what's going to happen. I can say the same thing about African Americans. They have a victim complex, and that is an issue. When you have this kind of idea where you're being told that you can't do something because it tends to affect you even long term. Man.
I might get shot for this, but I always say I empathize with non-racist whites in the States. I empathize. It must be so exhausting.
You know, the only non-racist whites are conservatives. The left will tell you that you're black. You know, if you say you're conservative, say you support Trump, you're not really black. Like you'll be told you're not really black, or you're a coon. They'll call you a coon. Me, I've been called a coon a lot, man, because of your views. Yeah.
You saw Don Lemon and Elon Musk.
Yeah,
man, that was a poor show.
Yeah,
but it's such a mentality thing.
Yeah,
not only the black thing you talk about, the victim thing, and the CNN-ish kind of.
Bro, guys are tired of that propaganda. Guys are so tired. You can't trust. Even Fox News has turned back into that bullshit because after Tucker Carlson left, all the integrity left to them. Because now you don't want to follow someone that is clearly, someone is telling you that this war is inexorable. Is it inexorable? Inexorable. Inexorable. Anyway, the war is inevitable. Like we have to fight. Said by a sponsor or someone who works for Boeing.
But
so that guy who's talking and saying that the war has to happen
stands to gain.
Obviously, he's gonna gain.
Raytheon. Yeah.
So it's insane.
The military-industrial complex is something that can't just be untied.
Someone tried to untie it.
20 years.
Someone tried to get rid of it, and troops were leaving Somalia.
Oh, Trump.
For the first time in I don't know how long.
He even had a plan for them how to leave Afghanistan.
The leaving of Afghanistan was him. He's the one who did it, but Nani pulled them out too quickly. I suspect it's so that they can go back in.
Yeah. Left all these billions of equipment.
Yeah, so to prop them up and then get back in. But Afghanistan has been fought over how many times? It's literally never been conquered. You know that? The Russians have been trying for the longest time. Now the Americans, now the Turkish are coming in. No, the Chinese, sorry. Trying. So anyway.
The war machine is crazy. But let's switch gears now as we stick the landing. Again, I'll just take it back to history. You guys, we've known each other for a long time. Since we're kids, pretty much. In how was and I feel like this is a proverbial problem for people who are in their mid-20s now and mid-30s. How's adulting been, bro? Like the real the real version vis-a-vis what we imagined when we were young. Remember when we were.
Yeah, I don't think
when homework was our biggest problem.
To be honest, I don't think. Those times were simpler. But I think that for me, I'm kind of like an old soul in a young guy's whatever. So I don't mind being an adult dealing with adult things, I guess.
The freedom.
Maybe
is
it's
nice.
because, and also maybe it's because I'm a bit privileged. Yeah. So there's certain things that I haven't had to worry about too much. And, I think you're Don Bosco guy for that.
The good loud.
The good loud. Yeah. So, but other than that, I don't think the transition has been that hectic. Of course, we used to while a lot, like if you can remember, Wiley Coyote, man.
Man, I can't remember.
You can't remember. Used to
all that shit gone, man. I was drunk, man.
So roll you out the clubs, man. But anyway,
they literally
that was
used to
fun.
roll me out the clubs, bro.
Yeah. That was fun in its own way. But now I like to enjoy certain things come with adulting. I can have a Negroni with a cigar now instead of
Mzinga.
Mzinga in the car.
Asman of Blue.
Though I still miss those days. Well, that was fun. It's just a different chapter. Going through a book, different chapter, you realize your mortality. Somewhere I had a quote. When you truly realize that you're a man, is when you realize that your father is a man as well. Just a guy trying to make decisions just like you. And that makes you even respect him more.
They say when you're a boy, which is it's so true. When you're a boy, you idolize. When you grow up a bit, you humanize your father. I'm talking about your father. You idolize him. You get older, you start to understand a few things. You humanize him, and then the older you get, you empathize. You're like, oh my God, these guys are also just winging it.
Yeah, they're winging
it. They have a bit more experience.
Yeah,
but all of them are just
they're trying to.
It's a cipher, bro.
I feel like that makes you even respect him more because ideally you think of your father as a Superman, and then once you get to the point where even you're just winging it, trying your best as a guy just to survive. And you realize he went through this and he actually succeeded. Damn.
And then the pressure now that they have, yes, we're adults, but they overlook everything.
Yeah.
They're still caretakers of a lot of things.
Those guys are lucky. Boomers have had they're the wealthiest
of course
generation in history.
Talk to your
those guys. They own land, they own everything.
Talk to your paps about how. Like my old man knew where he was going to set up his office while in campus. And it was realistic. It was not like, okay, one day I'm going to have it was literally like, Nikimaliza, I just need this much money. Get an office there and start my practice. Times have changed to the point, I always say, the direct correlation with fear and opportunity. The more opportunity, the more the fear. That's why they were able to be. Because we could kind of do upper. Then now when there's no opportunity, the fear is gone. That's why the Gen Zs are whiling.
What the hell were we doing in 2009, man? Well, 2009, Bitcoin was I think $1.50 or $2.
The problem
we could have just asked for $200 or something.
The problem with thinking like that is literally right now there is something cooking somewhere that we're not a part of. That will end up being $1 billion thing.
The AI kind of trajectory. But you also need to be careful because by the time you're hearing about something, most of the time it's already too late.
It's already too late, yeah.
So you just need to figure out exactly what that is. And I guess right now it's something to do within AI. Whatever is going to survive this next cycle. Ideally, there's always an 18.6 year cycle, economic
business cycle, yeah.
And it's peaked off with the land or real estate cycle.
In this context or worldwide?
Worldwide. It's everywhere. 2008 was the last one. Next one is going to be peak, probably is going to be 2026 Q1. Q4, sorry. Q1.
So going to have a recession like 08?
Yeah.
Inevitably?
It's a must. It has to happen. It's like a reset. Markets are based off of.
Then we give the banks more money.
Yeah, no. Markets are based off. It's not. You see, it depends on what catalyst it is. The last time was mortgage-backed securities, right?
Yeah.
So it just depends on what it is. There's always a boom and a bust. It was the .com bubble. There's a real estate mortgage-backed security bubble. Next is gonna be, I don't know, AI bubble.
AI, yeah.
So there's always something that peaks and then but it's always the end is always the kind of the real estate. So I've been looking into that, and if you look at that, you kind of get an idea of what to do with your cash. In trading, we say, or people say, when in doubt, zoom out. So you kind of zoom out and see what on the 18.6 year cycle, around where are we? Yeah. So the last one was 2008, right? Meaning that the next one will be in 2026, the peak. And if you can remember, 2008 things were bad, bro, all around the world. You can remember.
I remember, of course, I remember Kina Hank Paulson.
Guys were leaving cars in Dubai, like at the airport, running away, man.
Telling Obama we're too big to fail.
Yeah.
Hank Paulson.
Lehman Bros, guys.
Lehman Brothers. Yeah, I remember that. I remember Iceland.
Yeah.
Banks collapsed.
Yeah. Even here, ideally, the African market, especially the Kenyan market, is about 4 months lag.
So we're saying we had two shocks. 08 was on the... We were just post-election.
08, things dipped, everything dipped. There was it dipped so bad that Bitcoin was created. Bitcoin was created in about 2008, 2009, if I'm not wrong. The white paper had been there for a while, but it was created around that time. So now Bitcoin is supposed to be a kind of, what's it called? Free from the system. There's a word for it. Decentralized. It's supposed to be kind of decentralized form of
currency.
Peer-to-peer. So so it came out around that time.
Some people still opine that strongly it's inevitable for that to be the new wave. Like
100% is going to be, but you can see governments are already taking it on. No, even taking it on, making their own centralized currencies. They're called CBDCs. Centralized digital currencies. Anyway, yeah. So even Kenya has white paper on that. Did I send you?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. There's white paper on a Kenyan kind of centralized currency, digital. There's a white paper on a dollar one. There's white paper on the Nigerian one. I think it's even out already. People have even started using it, I think. But that's scary. That's now dystopian level kind of nini. With Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, you can't control it. Like, it's out of the sphere of governmental influence, unless now governments come and buy a lot, which the states, of course, have done.
And they haven't tried using the black market thing to say that, to justify why they're clamping in on it.
Okay, they have, but then that's dumb, because they say that black market is the reason why they're clamping down. How many things do you buy for cash on the black market? Oh, bro, in fact, 90% of transactions happen in cash on the black market anyway. And cash is actually more secretive. But which is why...
Nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays. But which is why, all the time, the whole time. Which is why, if you noticed, many countries have become cashless societies, and including us who are played, you guys.
It's so funny. We become cashless unbeknownst to us.
Yeah, no, but you see,
do you know, even if
you guys were being told that ati COVID, ati pesa ni chafu, pesa ni chafu, that time you're like, this money is dirty, bro. Kumbe, they're just trying to flock you into M-Pesa and checking all your transactions and, trying to, yeah.
They had proposed a tax, they wanted to create a tax profile of your M-Pesa transactions.
Yeah.
That's also what sparked a lot of disarray.
Yeah.
How long do you want to keep doing this? Because, we balance today. So,
please, let's not talk about flying.
No, I want to talk about not flying.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm saying, how long do you want to do this before you're done?
Or flying?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
And I saw that with me, I'm still because I entered late.
Yeah.
I still don't mind it. I
don't know.
Let me not pretend.
You see, there's not really any. I can say 2 years. I can say 5 years. I can say 10. But if I've not met what I want to, done what I want to accomplish, then I'll still be there working, right? So I will finish it when I am at least 60% of the way with accomplishing what I need to do. Yeah.
So do you miss it at all when you're off?
Nigga, do I miss? Are you asking me if I miss? It's like asking someone, so do you miss being at the desk in the office?
But there are people who do.
I guy.
A lot of
sometimes maybe if you're away for a very long time, then you're like, okay, now I feel
I think
purposeless.
if you be honest,
Yeah, you feel a bit purposeless, I guess, but of course not. Like if you're away, I comfortably can be away for a week and not feel some type of way, man. Yeah, even if I'm just at home, chilling, my shosho, cows, all of that stuff, I don't mind that, man.
Financial freedom is the only way, man. I still get that every so often. Let me not also talk like a cock. Every so often I get that nice feeling about flying, nice view every so often, yeah. But sometimes it's just jobo, man. Especially the early mornings. You can get used to that.
Jeso.
I love God, bro.
You still get time to.
Yeah, man. God. You wanna explore?
Another.
My buddy here is an atheist. Still my best friend, but I believe in God. It doesn't, so it doesn't matter, man. What are your thoughts on Jeso?
I don't know, man. I feel like there's a time and place for that kind of stuff, and that time has passed. However, it's interesting because, like I said, the society is a scale. We've gone so deep into the territory of nihilism that now we kind of need to be pushed back
to reset back
into Jesus' arms.
I think faith has been bastardized in many ways, in terms of it gets a bad rep by way of some of the leaders of faith movements. You look at
you get bro.
Wait, let me finish.
Sorry,
Radical Islam. Prosperity gospel. You look at a guy like our president who kind of bamboozled people by way of, I'm a faith guy. And again, I was sharing earlier, part of the reason people resonated with that is because a lot of Kenyans are Sunday Christians. So do whatever you do Monday to Friday. Saturday, get plastered, philander, do your thing, and then Sunday, get that solemn feeling and jolly well reset. So people could see the duality of this guy. Like, this guy is thuggish, he's thuggish, but he's also just yeah. So people also felt that identification, and he managed to enter the psyche of a lot of people. But I always say, even to atheists, think of God as an idea where the empirical evidence of the belief is the quality of life the believer gets every so often. So for
that's quite wise.
Yeah, it's not, you don't have to think of God but in terms of
bearded dude in the sky
necessarily. But if my belief and me adhering to certain concepts gives me empirical quality of life where I can tangibly say,
that's fair. And as long as you're not, I'm
not radical by
chopping guys' heads off. Because of a book, then that's also cool.
Yeah, I
as long as it doesn't affect other people's way of life, that's what I say.
I don't believe in imposition. I don't believe in imposing faith on anybody. Alcohol. The world looks different 4 years later. Like, it's like I was living in a parallel existence, bro. And how many versions of that exist just outside the realm of booze? Or perhaps it could be certain choices, bad decisions, certain paths that people pick, certain careers that people pick that are just a misery that you're existing in long term.
Isn't it interesting how everyone is just like an extra or background dancer in your life? Even as you're driving on the road, there are cars that are just in the background. Those guys have other lives, man. They're living full lives. It's just so interesting. There's this video I was watching on YouTube. Actually, funny enough, before that, I was watching a video of Pastor Nganga insulting homies.
The guys who attacked the CSs.
Fun of CS.
And it's like, I told y'all.
There's another one where he's making fun of guys at you come to church and you give 200 shillings and then you pretend that you're speaking in tongues. I'm not speaking in tongues. You have epilepsy.
But I watched again. That's why I say faith and faith movements have been bastardized. I watched a video this morning before you came. This is infamous Pastor Kanyari, bro. The way he's talking to his congregants, I'm like, your self-esteem, and I'm not faulting them.
Disgusting.
Their self-esteem must be so damaged. This guy is abusing them
Yeah.
for donating, for giving 50 bob.
Yeah.
And when you look at the congregants, some of them look like perhaps that's what they can afford.
Yeah.
And how do you sit there and take that? I think I would attend for comic relief just to see
Just to die,
this
man. Die of laughter.
has the nerve to talk to people like this.
Yeah.
But that's how powerful the human
Faith.
psyche for wanting better for self, you know?
But a
And
lot
sometimes-
of faith is brainwashing, man. A lot
Of course,
it is brainwashing.
of course. And some faith holds certain strings of society together. You know, think about
Bro, yeah. Sorry.
extremely impoverished person or someone in the rigors of war, like in Palestine right now. Bro, sometimes you can only hold on to faith, bro. Like, how else can you go through the rigors of life without that extra thing? I notice, I can't help. Again, I've known you for so long, bro. I can't help but notice a shift, or rather a maturity in terms of how you deal with your respect for other people's faith. There was a time you were radical in terms of your atheism. Radical, I mean, like, you're not going to try to spread it, but you kind of had like a disrespectful outlook, or at least overtly. I think right now it's just inside.
Yeah. Now I'm just trying to be cordial.
Is that because of your parents as well? Like
No.
your parents being believers in it?
No, not at all.
What's that about?
I think it's just because I can understand now how important traditional beliefs are in our world right now. Like I said, I talked about nihilism before. Guys don't believe in anything, which causes them to eventually believe in something. And that's something, because human beings, you can't not believe in something. Either you believe in God, or you believe in government through communism or whatever it is. Or you believe in identity, which is the problem that we're having now with identity politics. You know, you have to believe in one thing or another. So if something has stood the test of time for over 2,000 years plus, there's some lessons that you can definitely learn from it, I'm sure. And
I like that.
I think there's some lessons.
2000.
Yeah, there's some 2000. Yeah, not the other ones. There's some. I'm joking. There's some lessons that you can learn from every single religion. There's a brotherhood that you can learn from Islam. There's a respect for other people's religions that you can learn from Christianity. There's a kind of what's it called? Warrior mentality, warriorism that you can also learn from Old Testament God, wrathful,
What about
vengeful,
karmic values?
even karmic values from Buddhism and Hinduism,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah, so there's a lot of things you can learn from those things.
So do you think our faith also? Do you think faith comes from a yearning to know where we came,
Why?
where we're here,
Why you're here?
where are we from?
What's the
Where
biggest
do you think we're from?
from your dad's balls, bro? What are you talking about?
No, of course. That's the first step.
That's
But
literally the only step. If you misstepped, you wouldn't be here, bro.
but on a further scale of origin, we believe in
Evolution, 100%. Time is the only God, I think. Time
So do you think
is
do you think we
the only thing that has always been here, will always be here, and will continue to be here always.
so there's no beginning of time?
No, I think it's always been there. You see, the problem with us is we have
A time bomb.
we're unable to even understand that something cannot have been created. You get what I mean?
It's outside our realm.
It's
true.
completely,
It's true.
when you start thinking about the spans of the universe, for example, the distances, the insane vastness of space, it becomes even crippling. It's almost scary, right? When you start thinking about the moon being 300 and something thousand kilometers away from the earth, the sun being an X amount of millions of kilometers away from the earth, and then that being the one star, and then the closest star to the sun is Proxima Centauri, 4.8 light years away.
So do you think the origin, even
from us.
within this expanse, that this super vastness that is unfathomable,
Yeah,
you think it just existed?
that's just how it was. And now you think you're special, such that some guy came and said, you know what? I'm gonna make all of this, but these guys, no, of course not. It's a system of, it's just let's say, a system of continuous coincidences that ended up, in us being here. Right now, where the Earth kind of habitates, or is a zone called the Goldilocks zone. Scientists call it the Goldilocks zone.
Where carbon-based
Exactly.
life can actually exist.
Because it's not too far or not too close from the sun.
An inch closer and we're doomed.
Yeah. The perfect example is Mars and Venus. So those three were called, those three were quite similar. The Earth, Mars, and Venus. So they're all rock-based kind of planets. And they all had water on them and an atmosphere at one point. And Venus still has an atmosphere. It's too close to the sun. So what's happened? It's the hottest planet in our solar system. Mars, on the other hand, is a bit too far. So eventually, it was too cold. And I think with time...
Mercury is not the hottest planet?
No, it's Venus.
Okay.
Even though it's closest to... Do you know why? It's because Mercury doesn't have an atmosphere. But Venus does. So because Venus has an atmosphere, the sun's heat heats it up continuously. It's a greenhouse effect kind of thing.
So I tend to think, and you see, what you call coincidence or beautiful coincidence for me is how I look at it as perfect creation. Yeah, like I don't understand it in its entirety. It's too vast for me to understand. But the idea of creator is
easier.
Not easier. It's even sensible to imagine that, because I just look at the general rules of even existence. Even this cup, for example, it didn't just come into being, right? Yeah. So I can't imagine that this perfect or imperfect place that we live in, with the intricacies of things like a human being, for example, or an animal.
Complex, right? But then at the end of the day, like I said, with the vastness of the universe, it's almost impossible for that not to be there. I was talking about...
Are you talking about possibilities?
Or? Yeah, possibilities. Like it's almost impossible for that not to be probability. It's actually probability. So in the Milky Way alone, dude...
So this is gonna get
really geeky real quick.
Was it probable for possible or probable for us to exist here doing this podcast?
It was inevitable.
Based off what?
Probability.
So probable.
Yeah, but inevitable. It's actually almost inevitable for there to be another exact Eric somewhere else doing the exact same thing.
Also, you believe in a parallel universe?
I believe that.
Do you think we interface with that?
I don't know. That I'm not sure.
Do you ever have a lot of deja vu?
Yeah.
And I say that because sometimes I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I have experienced many things. Or you see something like that has happened. That has happened.
Do you feel a lot of deja vu, especially now that you're working?
Not at the workplace.
After work,
not
right?
Not in relation to the workplace. In relation to thoughts that I have.
But you feel it more now.
Way more.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because you're tired. That's why. That's all deja vu is. Your brain is exhausted. So I don't know the exact science, but your brain is exhausted, and that's why you feel a kind of it's
so that I died and I wasn't meant to die yet, and then I was
now you're taking it completely out of context. The idea is that if you look at the Earth itself, the Earth is one planet around a star, of which I think people don't even know the exact amount of planets that are there. Some people say there's a 10th planet. I think you've heard of it.
In our solar system.
Yeah, in our solar system. But there are so far 8 planets, right? Not Pluto anymore.
Pluto
it was kicked out.
Kicked out of the club.
Bullied out of the club. So in that one solar system, around one star, yeah, there are hundreds of billions of stars in our Milky Way galaxy. And there's this famous picture that was taken by the Hubble Space Telescope. Yeah, not the Webb, the Hubble. I think the Webb actually did a more in-depth picture. So there's a space the size of a thumb, and there were hundreds of galaxies in that space. So you can imagine the amount the vastness of space, if that is just
So apart from the idea of parallel universe, because parallel has, and I stand corrected, a connotation of
side by side.
outside our realm.
Yeah.
When we talk about the vastness of space, it's within our realm.
Yeah.
So within that vastness, you're saying the parallel universe theory suggests that there's parallel versions of
There's
all of that.
there's but I think that's a bit on the science fiction side of things. For me, I don't even know which ninis I have credentials I have to talk about this, but based
Fly
off
me
of
rap,
just
bro.
my geekiness,
Fly me rap, bro.
you're qualified. I'm qualified to talk about space. No, I don't know. I think just based off of my geekiness, from what I've seen, ideally, and let's go back to God and all of this and time and why I think that time is one of the most solid discussions. I think that's Snoopy that's just arrived. So I think that when it comes to discussing time, you have to look at time as something that has always been, is, and will always be.
That's why you say time is God, because that's how
time is God, because that's how God is kind of defined
by many cultures and many religions. Yeah?
Exactly. At the same time, all of us creatures, including human beings, including the animals that we're talking about chickens earlier, and I was telling you about how the fowls, chickens were fowls, like birds that used to were forest dwelling kind of, and then eventually they were reared and selective breeding and all of that, and then now you have the modern day chicken, right?
KFC, tasty.
Yeah.
Finger licking good.
Pigs as well. You can see hogs,
warthogs, yeah.
People also same thing. Algerians, you think Algerians are light skinned because they wanted to, the product of slavery.
Some people say that they are the Anunnaki branded. They are different, what they call slave people. So blacks, the Anunnaki intentionally made people black, white, Chinese, Indian.
Hey, about that I don't know.
Talk to Billy Castle, bro.
No.
We were slave, because they say, according to evolution, which you believe in, there's a point where there was a quantum change, in that our DNA just slipped in a way that was not time, didn't make sense in terms of the scale of time, in terms of how things were actually moving. So people feel like a foreign race came and interfered. Some guys say Anunnaki. But now let me ask you, so that brings me to, do you believe in aliens?
Yes.
Do you believe we have evidence of aliens?
I think that life outside of our solar system is
inevitable
because
of the vastness.
But intelligent life, on the other hand, is rare.
It's rare here as well.
Rare. Even here it's rare. I think intelligent life is quite rare, especially.
But you need to contextualize what you mean by rare, because
rare.
Any other.
You know what I mean? Do you know what? Yeah.
Any other existence is already mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So rare in the context of intelligent life.
Yeah.
Is you understand what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. I don't think it'll be mind blowing, because already we know that simple celled organisms, ideally in the inception of Earth, came on comets, right? Ideally, that's what the theory is.
It was refuse.
Yeah. So it's just comets that came in. Others say that during the time in our solar system when there was a lot of asteroid collisions, that a lot of it also came from Mars, and that we are the Martians that we've been looking for.
I saw the guy on 60 Minutes saying that,
exactly,
that we are actually Martians.
Yeah, we might be. So, I don't think it would be shocking to find simple life on other planets. But what I think is never going to happen is us finding intelligent life.
In our lifetime or ever?
Ever. Because
Distance,
exactly. We're bound by a universal speed limit, which is...
For now, though.
Which is a speed of light. You can't go faster than the speed of light.
But people opine that because we're not thinking in terms of interdimensional travel, outside the context of what people would call time travel, like we're still thinking in terms of to put it bluntly, like locomotion, just at a certain speed.
Yeah. So you're talking about warping space,
Yes, things like that. Space and time.
That's
Yeah, smartphone was a wild concept in the 50s.
You're talking about bending space time, bro. No, I don't think we're gonna get there in a very
Think about telling Kina Achilles that we'll be talking on a microphone in the Dark Vader lights, and it's like bending
you'd
space
be
and time.
instantly chomoed at the stake.
So do you think we've interfaced with any alien life so far as humanity?
People like to think so, but I think it's even if we did interface with aliens, would we all really want that?
It depends. Why do aliens have to get a bad rep,
bro? Think about human beings, not even aliens. Think about when the
that's human
Incas, when the Incas, not Incas, are they Incas or the Incas are from Peru, right? The Mayans are from South America.
Yeah.
Think of the Spaniards when the Spaniards came on their ships to the Mayans. These Mayans had been on this island. They'd been slaughtering and enslaving the shit out of these people. All of a sudden, some guys come on a boat. They're sick. They bring sickness. They destroy those guys. What did they come and say? You guys are so nice. Continue doing your stuff.
But you're using the measure of human beings. Why are you assuming that an alien race would not have a higher conscience? Why we're using human beings as the litmus?
It's the only litmus.
It's because we only
paper that we know
so far. So I feel like the idea of aliens,
a benevolent alien,
perhaps. Why not? Especially if you're saying there's more than one alien. Why would the alien have to be a bad guy? I
think that benevolent alien already came and went 2,000 years ago. Yeah, he's gone, bro. And then you see what we did to him again.
But in the context of people who believe in all these UAPs, unidentified, what are they called? Why is it that, and again, why is it that people have said that a lot of times they are seen around nuclear weapons? So people have said, not necessarily. So there's two thoughts. It's alien life, conventional alien out of our not from Earth,
or military
looking over us. Of course, there's the human side, it's the Russians, the Chinese, the Indians, whichever. And then there's the idea that it's also a caretaker civilization. Now, the superior version of us.
Caesar famously said, give the people bread and games and they'll be distracted. You can control them. So it's the same thing. I mean, I think it's just the government's trying to cover up weapons that they're creating. And they give us something to talk about. That's it.
So thinking that Jimmy Fravor are all in on it, or they're just outside.
I think they've seen those things and thought that they saw something, definitely. But it's not aliens, man. There's no aliens. For sure there's no intelligent life out there yet. Maybe we'll find it, but I don't think. I think there's a paradox that we're in where we're kind of living in our own prison cells because of the famous speed limit I told you about earlier. There's no way that you can ever cross that speed limit. And so that
are you saying
governs people even with time. Do you know how long the fastest man-made object is the Voyager 1, I think, or Voyager 2. Voyager 1, I think. And right now it's just, it's about to get into, or just about a couple years from getting into interstellar space.
That's the one that has all the music playing.
Yeah, the music and the gold disc and all that stuff. That thing has been traveling since 1970 something.
But you see,
at almost 53 or 50 something thousand kilometers an hour.
But again, contextually, that's like a blimp contextually, and it's hard to negate. And now I've removed my Christian hat. I'm just thinking, for conversation's sake, it's a podcast. Every time with Eric, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. So just based on the vastness, to opine that there's no alien race or intelligent, don't you think that's narcissistic? to imagine that
it's just
because
us.
how is that?
That's the same thing I was saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How is it different from what you say religions do and say we're the special people?
Yeah.
God came for us
Yeah.
specifically, vis-a-vis outside. Just let's use even the science as the metric in terms of possibility and probability, just based off the vastness. Why would then there be intelligent life just outside our purview?
No,
Just outside what
I
we can
think
see?
I think
Or
you
interface.
mistook what I was saying. So I was saying that there's definitely life out there. There is
Intelligent life.
more than
Let's focus
there's
on
definitely life out there. Number one, there is a slower chance that there is intelligent life out there, but it's
in
definitely
extreme vastness.
yeah, but it's almost impossible for intelligent life to interact unless it's a special kind of solar system where it's like a dual planetary system where there's two planets that are kind of rotating, revolving around one another. That's one of the only ways that would work. Or there are two planets that just happen to find themselves in the Goldilocks zone, so those two are able to interact with one another. Eric, remember I said the closest star, and it's not even like it's not even a habitable star. I think Proxima Centauri. I don't know. People can will comment and tell me if I'm wrong, but that star, it takes 4.8 years for the light of that star to reach our eyes, which means that you have to be traveling at the speed of light for 4.8 years. It's an insane distance.
Again, I feel like I'm faulting you on you're basing everything with a human standard. So why do you think, and you said the chances of us interfacing with intellectual life, why are you basing that on the human? What if it's based on the alien? Whatever,
it could be.
Whatever they've developed on the other side.
It could be, but it's the only frame of understanding that unfortunately I know, and I'm aware of that, at least. I'm like, I'm aware of the fact that it's probably not true. And I mean, when the time comes, I stand to be corrected or whatever. You know, I'm not... So
you don't believe in David Icke and reptilians?
Reptilians. I believe those guys are definitely psychopathic. But yeah, I don't think there's any kind of reptilians. I think that's just more or less some kind of what's the word?
Conspiracy?
When you don't like Jews, it's anti-Semitic, yeah, definitely just anti-Semitic rhetoric.
You feel like the reptilian conspiracy is
100% is based on Jews, yeah. It is.
But the people who espouse that theory say they talk about the crown,
banking system,
the crown,
which is also.
But the crown actually more than the Rothschild route, more the crown route actually.
Okay. That Ike.
Yeah, the lineage is from that special bloodline.
People always want special. People always want to push blame on some guy who's controlling things. Even actually, God, the creation of God. There's this famous painting by Da Vinci. Epstein. By Da Vinci. I think it's Da Vinci in the Sistine Chapel, right? Is it Da Vinci or is it this other guy? Anyway, it's a painting of the creation of Adam. I'm not exactly sure who painted it. Michelangelo.
Probably Michelangelo.
Michelangelo, isn't it?
Vatican.
Michelangelo. No, it's Sistine Chapel.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Anyway, so it's a painting of the creation of Adam. Very famous painting where the fingers touching.
Yeah.
And it's Da Vinci, yes. And he was trying to kind of, it's like a connotation. It's a kind of double
entendre.
Exactly, it's an entendre. It's a double entendre. The creation of Adam, not the creation of Adam.
Yeah, I get what
you get.
Yeah.
Meaning that God is the creation of man. You get what I mean?
Yes. So you think we created
and
it
I think we
in our
definitely created. That's literally why it's in our own image. That's why it's a bearded guy. Like we famously said, Methuselah was probably in his late 20s. We've said that many times.
Based on disease,
Bro,
guys.
telling me that guy was 900.
Guys used to
There's
make it,
no way.
Guys
Bro.
used to make it to 13, and
There was a celebration, man.
it was a bash.
Yeah, Romans used to celebrate. When you get to 16, you made it.
So you think Methuselah was like 33?
900. 28 if you was lucky, bro. So, yeah.
So, but based off the images, the paintings, the carvings, you think those guys are bearded like that at 28, like white beards?
Have you seen the self-portraits of Michelangelo and Da Vinci? Bearded guys, bro.
How old were they?
I don't know. Probably 35. I don't know. No, they were quite old. I think he was 80. I think he was in his late 70s. I think.
But haven't you seen even like the NBA in like the 80s? Guys look, 23-year-old guy looked like he was 50.
Yeah, guys, have you seen? But now it's the other way around. Because 16-year-olds like on TikTok, they look super old. And it's disgusting, man. I don't know what kind of... Bro, you better...
So,
do you have TikTok yourself?
Yes, I even have a platform for this, but I'm more of an Instagram guy. I'm not saying that as a badge of it. I'm not a TikTok.
Yeah.
But I think even in the past few months, I've also gone through some existential questioning, because they say like the Vatican has like miles and miles of library of like scrolls and manuscripts that were found and left there, and then the Bible, of course, was handpicked by
there was a famous
King James.
Yeah, there's a famous hearing kind of where guys came and decided which books they're gonna put in, and they will kind of decide not to make because Jesus most definitely existed. I think
as a person,
he existed for sure.
So, but he was way ahead of his time in terms of thought process, because
he was.
He was trying to equalize women.
Apparently, he was also a married guy.
Women in society.
With kids also, by the way. Yeah, no offense. It's just ideally, historically, what people are saying. So those books were...
The Mary Magdalene thing?
Yeah.
That was his wife?
I don't know about Mary Magdalene. That's the Da Vinci Code. But apparently he did have a
lineage.
A child and all of that. So they came together at one point in time to kind of decide which books they're going to put in the Bible, and they removed the books and made Jesus look human.
I'm laughing because he preached at 13, and there's this famous guy on social media, Kenyan guy, some kid who preaches, well, and I'm just imagining a 13-year-old back then, like actually gathering guys, and they're listening, So.
But I know maybe some of those things are also. Yeah, you famously know the many relations or between the Egyptian religion and Christian religion.
I sent that to my guys recently, Pastor Mike here, my very, very sound editor, and we were having an intellectual back and forth on our platform, right? Just conversational sake for the most part. And I sent them a link to the Zeitgeist, where they talk about how many times the Jesus story has been replicated based off the sun. Mm-hmm. And the sun tends to be the narrative.
Sun ideally has been life-giving. It literally is life-giving. And people kind of hedged all religions after the sun. All of them. Any other religion? Let's say it this way. There's no religion that has not been made from scratch. Every other religion has been made off of the bones, for the back of another religion. Islam, off of Christianity. Christianity off of Judaism. Actually, Christianity off of an Old Testament Christianity. Then that Old Testament off of Judaism.
Torah.
Judaism off of Egyptian religion. Egyptian religion based off of the worship of the sun. So it all goes back to the sun.
So do you think the Pope, for example, is an atheist, but he understands the importance of his
politics, bro? I mean,
So do you think in his quiet time when he's brushing his teeth, do you think he believes or he doesn't?
Do you think that it's coincidence that just as the LGBTQ movement started picking up steam, that all of a sudden we got a pope that's like, you know what? As long as you do what you do in the privacy, bro. This is politics.
Did he specifically say that?
It's politics.
I thought he retracted.
I think he
No, he retracted.
he said that
Guy came out and said,
people
but he actually he said there's no heaven or hell. Hey, he had to reverse thrust that.
he said that. Okay, that I don't. But I know about
that changes the whole existential thing.
about the thing with. Okay, let's just say this. He's the most pro, LGBTQ pope that we've had.
Contextually, of course, compared to the guys of the past, yes, of course.
Bandera guys, man. There's two places that the Nazis used to keep their money: Swiss
Rome
banks
and Rome
and the Vatican. Famous.
So
actually.
again, answer my question, and I'm thinking out loud. Do you think the Pope, this guy is who? Benedict? Yes. It's Benedict.
Man.
No, but Benedict was Ratzinger. That was the guy who had
Benedict was the guy with the eyes.
the psychopath.
Yeah.
This is Pope Francis.
Francis.
Yes. Do you think in his quiet time, Franco? Do you think in his quiet time he's an atheist?
I think maybe they understand it on the level of the necessity of religion. They understand that, yes, we know. It's like politicians. They thrive on the ignorance of citizens to the political system. The second citizens, as you've seen right now,
Chanuka,
they're aware of the system, then now that becomes like their Achilles heel. So it's the same thing. They're aware that there are certain things that don't make sense now and could easily be...
So do you think society disintegrates outside religion?
I don't.
If something,
like I said it's a scale. Ideally, initially, guys will be okay. Look at the West. The West has been one of the most fastest growing civilizations, especially after they famously gave us the Bible and took our land instead, isn't it? Then now they went abroad and they kind of grew without religion. But eventually they get to a point where fuck the brakes. A step a bit back.
No, but religion was always at the bedrock of at least the idea of even America and God we trust. Like that was a big part of.
But look at it now.
Okay,
look at France. France, Normandy, the Crusades started in France, isn't it? Now look at them now. Lost. Churches are burning and being converted.
I thought I saw the other day the pendulum swinging back, where now people are finding God again, even in Europe.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it gets to a certain point where guys are like, goodness, we really lost ourselves. We need to backtrack a bit, and then they end up backtracking in the opposite direction. And then again, guys are like, we need to become a bit more free. So now it's just a pendulum, back and forth.
So you're outside the belief of creator in its entirety. You don't believe there's a creator?
No. Definitely not. I think the only creator, like I said, is your pops.
Won the race at least.
yeah, at least. Yeah, man. I definitely don't think that there's a God or someone that created us for sure. And I think that in 2024, believing that, truly believing that, you can take Christianity, break it down, and say, you shall not kill, you shall honor the Lord's Day, you shall, respect your parents. Those are good things. You can live off of those things.
Don't steal, don't kill.
Don't steal, don't kill. Those are good things. I mean, damn. But then now you go and say, Ati Jonah was in a fish for 7 days, nigga. No. Now that's where you lose me. Or a talking snake. No.
I have to be honest about Christianity, and it goes back to what books were selected for the Bible. As a believer, even so I started a Bible plan with a friend of mine this year. And of course, it's a Bible every day. So they've managed, it's an app, so they've chunked it down to every day you cover specific things. And by February, I couldn't, because the Old Testament is so rife with things that are so crazy.
Leviticus.
It is so wild. I said, I didn't know what to make of it. So I took a step back. I was like, Old Testament is wild. And the Christian answer to that is Jesus came and changed it and follow the new side.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the old
because
side.
guys were like, damn. I think they realized it's just like now, bro. Christianity has evolved, and that's why Christianity will always be, even if Islam is, they say it's growing and all of that, Christianity will always be the more popular option because Christianity evolves.
It has room.
It has room for because people are different. It has room for people's growth. So I think at one point they realized that, damn, you're saying, if in fact Leviticus literally says, if a woman sleeps with a beast, the beast and the woman shall be slaughtered, and their blood shall be poured upon one another. I swear. Check Leviticus. It's one of the things.
You don't think that's perhaps an artistic expression of how much of an abomination it is for a woman to lay with man?
Artistic.
Yeah.
Like with the splattering of blood, yani, painting.
Listen, hear the thought. Like, it's such an abomination that this is what should happen. Not literally.
No, literally. That's what's happening.
Not literally. Because
what are you talking about?
Because why are you laying with beast in the first place? And if you're laying with
there
beast,
are guys who
isn't it the same way we say pedophiles should be castrated? Yeah.
Eric, did I send you the Ayatollah's book? That book on that
I think
you sent.
you sent me a link.
It literally talks about that and how you should do it. There's like
women laying with beast was common play.
Leave women laying with beasts. Women laying with beasts is not allowed. Niggers, on the other hand.
It was a prison.
Have you noticed those sheep in the desert, the diabs? We've seen those sheep in the diabs. those are genetically created, but there's no way. What's the benefit of that?
You're saying, wait, are you espousing that the sheep rear is an evolution due to necessity?
Yes,
get out of here,
bro. There's some sheep. I wish you guys could
put the sheep on the screen right now. Put
up those sheep. I'm telling you, like you've seen them with the diabs.
I've not looked at the sheep and looked at its
majority of them are in the deserts. No. You're not telling me that was just coincidence.
No, but evolution takes millennia. Human beings are not that.
Not necessarily. It's not even. That's why I'm saying it's not a product of evolution. It's a product of selective breeding. Someone was like, yo, we need some company out here, bro. It's true. Some guy was out there cooking.
What?
He was out there writing on a papyrus.
No way.
with this sheep, you know.
No way on that.
I'm telling you.
No way on that.
Like what is the what is the evolutionary benefit of having a diab like that? You tell me. You tell me.
We'll put that ship on. How does in the context of where you work, how does your atheism? I'm sure it's not a secret.
It's not.
How does that?
We have very interesting intellectual discussions, and
is there rigidity?
I'm happy that many of my colleagues aren't. They never catch feelings. They're quite open to discussion. Ideally, I think that many of them also want to try to convince me, but they quickly learn that not only do I know, I sound a bit narcissistic, but not only do I know about atheism and science, but I also know about Christianity and Islam in a deeper level than not as deep as, that.
Has there ever been a convincing
but as they
argument?
would think. Never. I think it always gets to the point where I'm like, you see that the thing that they can't fight is, or other people can't fight is, I respect certain things from certain religions. You kind of come up with Frankenstein's monster of beliefs. You pick and choose from different places and you learn. So there's things that I respect in certain religions, but there's also certain things I don't agree with. Like
but do you think
treatment of women and all of that?
So do you think a lot of these things are, so sometimes I ask myself, are these things innate or are they pick and choose? Because some things no one really has to tell you. Is it a societal formation that I just adhere to? Or did I literally go and say, do not steal, so do not steal. Do not kill, so do not kill. Or do I just know better based on...
Now you do because of the free flow of information. But back then there was no Twitter, there was no, you're hungry.
But did guys have
you take. You've killed the village next to you. You enslave the guys and you rape their women. That's how it was back in the day.
That was just a
So
natural order.
that's just the natural order of things, and that's how people were in the day. I agree with you. You can't really judge people based off of the
Today.
Yeah, based off of today. You can't judge people in the past based off of now, the present. So that is why I think religion was created, because guys were doing too much raping and killing at that time. So I think
Right, hold up.
yeah, they were like, yo, it's a bit much, it's getting out of hand. We need to control these people. Yeah.
Cool. I think we've covered quite a bit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
Interesting to get your thoughts on religion, man. So on my side, I think it's a wrap, bro.
Done.
Yeah.
Bring in the chocolate.
Anything you want to say?
Nah. I think I spoke in my mind. Need to hit the gym now, bro.
You can tell my guys to subscribe. Just look at that camera and tell my homies to subscribe.
Make a subscribe.
Yeah. God is watching, you know.
Probably not.
That's a wrap. Every other time with Eric, episode 6 done. Rikie, it was a pleasure having you on board, man.
Easy, bro.
Yeah, man. Keep flying. Keep believing or not believing. Do you, bro?
Thanks.
Away.